what we are gonna do today. But
recording is on.
And yeah, the idea is like basically we can do a really quick intros. We are going to explain what is Bitcoin design community, how to find resources. Like if you have any question about the projects, Stefan is going to jump in. The same with Patricia. But the idea is basically be here for you for any questions. And I'm going to start for me. I'm going to introduce. My name is Dulce. I've been in Bitcoin and blockchain for a few years now. I am a product manager. I am technical enough to code, but not technical enough to design. But I like the design experience. And I really, in my favorite holiday treat, I like Mexican posadas. Like it's like just a specific party for this season in Mexico, and I don't have this since I've been here. I'm gonna pass to Sylvia.
Sorry, where are you based, Dulce?
California, in Bay Area, yeah.
Nice. So, hi, I'm Sylvia, and I'm a designer based in Toronto. I'm leading the design team at Lending, who is a lending platform, like Bitcoin, like crypto lending platform. And I have been in the community for a while, but I don't know. I feel a bit like everyone talks about a lot of technical things that they might not know about. So it's kind of, I don't feel comfortable during the conversation sometimes. So yeah, I wanted to join to get to know better everyone. And my favorite dish, I think it's right now the rosco de vino, which is like I don't know how to explain that, but it's like a dessert that we eat in Spain for winter holidays. So yeah, I really like that, and I miss it as well. Magashini, do you want to continue?
Hey, greetings from the Netherlands. I'm really new. I think I've only been here, probably 2 weeks. So yeah, I really stumbled across the community by chance, and then felt like I struck gold because it was UX and then in the niche I'm interested in. And then I've just invited myself on a couple of the UX design calls, and so far it's been really fun. And I'm just here to sponge. I'm here to absorb and learn, and yeah, that's it.
Welcome. What is your favorite treat, Christmas or holiday treat?
Okay, so I'm not really a sweet person. I don't really like sweet. I come from I'm half Indian. I'm 1/3 Indian, 1/3 German, and 1/3 South African. So I have a really international palate, but I really like Indian food. And it's a strange thing, but in South Africa, we would eat curry during Christmas. It's a super strange thing, but typically
I love it.
Seafood curry. I'm a huge foodie, huge foodie. Yeah.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. I wish I could have a curry at my family holidays, but no, I guess my favorite holiday treat is, oh gosh, maybe Venetian bars. I don't know. It's this kind of weird like thing where you like lay out like a sheet of cake and then you put some like apricot jelly and then it's got like another sheet of cake on there. I just jumped in head with the holiday treat thing, but I'm Steven. I work on the Bitcoin Design Guide and help out with other projects in the Bitcoin design community kind of here because, I'm kind of part technical and part creative. And so doing design work for Bitcoin kind of scratches a lot of itches for me. I'm going to pass it over to Christoph next.
Okay, and Christoph, I have to say, Christmas treats, they're these amazing Lind Santa Clauses. Well, Lind is a local company, I think, or is it Swiss? And they're super amazing if you can get them. Used to eat them a lot more as a kid, kind of missing out now. But, I think those desires kind of slow down over time. So I've been with Bitcoin Design. I think John's here also since it started. Which has been super interesting to see from it was just like a few people joining Slack and then like figuring out how this even works. How do we have calls and how to organize this stuff? How do you organize responsibility in something like that? How do you even run projects? It's been super amazing, super interesting. And if you have any questions on the background, on the short history of this community, I can probably fill in some of the gaps, and I'm always happy to help out. I see my responsibility kind of split in between kind of like three things. There's one with the community. I help organize calls, and I just talk to people. I sometimes help out projects, sometimes with design tasks, sometimes with organizational things. Then with the guide, I'm trying to help make that better. And then I have some other projects that I help with, like the Bitcoin UI kit and the Bitcoin icon set. And they could use people helping, which would be super awesome. And Sylvia, I totally understand where you're coming from. I'm always like, no, this is too technical. We need to be more visual. And nobody listens, but that's okay. And okay, cool. Johns, how about you? You continue here.
Hey guys, I'm Johns. I'm from sunny Caribbean, and I also like curry. Seafood curry is pretty awesome. Yeah, so I'm kind of working on different kinds of researches relating to payment and UX research for payments and privacy stuff. So like Stephen, I'm kind of like in between technical and design. So I'm trying to, I guess, try to help designers care about some of the technical things a bit more, because it's really important for us to make this information that, you know, like the really technical people have, make it a bit more accessible to designers so that they could start experimenting a bit more. So yeah, that's kind of like what my mission is. Oh, and food, something about food.
Favorite holiday treat? It was
Favorite-
a last minute icebreaker question. I jammed into the Google Doc at the last minute. Go for it.
Well, I'm eating curry right now, so let's see. So we have this thing in the Caribbean, in Saint Lucia, called Journée Creole. It's because there's like this French influence that we've had in the past. That's why it's called Journée Creole, even though we're an English-speaking country. And they have like a whole bunch of different like dishes and stuff, like local dishes on that day. And I think one of my favorite ones is it's called bacon saltfish. It's kind of like this fried bread with this salted fish. It sounds maybe not so nice, but it's really nice. And cocoa tea. It's because we make chocolate here, so this we call it cocoa tea. I guess you'd call it chocolate tea, but it's kind of different, not as sweet-ish. Yeah.
Sweet. Patricia, would you like to chime in? Patricia is muted right now, so that's okay. If she unmutes herself in a minute, maybe she stepped away, then she can introduce herself. Otherwise, I'll let you continue, Dolce.
Yeah, I forgot to say my treat. I just say what I miss. My treat, there is like a thing that is very Spanish, that is Rosca de Reyes, but it's in January, but it's my favorite thing because you drink with Mexican chocolate. Yeah, and it's nice. Like, please, if somebody has question, please write in the chat. The idea is to explain. Hi, Winston.
Hello.
Hello. We were just introducing yourself. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Should I go?
Yeah,
You're
you
up.
are the last one.
Hi, everyone. My name is Winston, and I currently lead marketing at a startup here in LA. And I'm just super excited. I discovered this group while just researching. I'm new to the crypto space, new to the design community, and I just thought it would be a great experience to meet others who are interested in the same things and to really learn.
Thank you, Winston. Welcome. Yeah, the idea of this call is explain what is the Bitcoin design community. Like most of you know, it's an open source community. Open source is mostly made it collaborative or always collaborative. And the idea is to have this spirit of open source, making everybody feel welcome, like everybody can take an issue and work on, on an idea or a project, a one that is already in the project, in the past projects or in the current projects, or maybe create a new project. The main goal of Bitcoin community is to make Bitcoin more intuitive and accessible. I think, and personally, I want to share, like, I always think in Bitcoin, like how to make it to the next billion users, like how to make Bitcoin easy for anyone, everywhere. I know it's hard because you have to laser focus, but then again, have the big picture. If you are in the Google Docs, you can find the resources. Like the resources basically is the website, the design guide, when you can learn a lot. I actually learned a lot myself by reading this, and I thought, oh, I knew this already, but sometimes another person or group of person find beautiful words to describe something, and then this is, I think, is the beautiful word that I can see in the design guide. I guess everybody has access to the Google Docs that I am talking. Winston, you have access?
Yeah, link in the chat.
Link in the chat. Oh, okay, perfect. So far, we are trying to. I'm trying to make this, and we are trying to make this like more welcoming and have a better onboarding for new members, because it's funny, we work on onboarding for users in wallets and projects, but I think we need to work in onboarding for our own community. And if you have any feedback or you want to share your experience, we would like to listen. Yeah. Patricia, are you still there?
I'll chime in because if you asked for feedback with regards to the onboarding.
Yeah.
So I really found that I could look, kind of just from looking on the website and reading the specific sections, I really found that I kind of really understood what the community was about, how to contribute, how to, there's even a resource, how to link your calendar to Google Calendar or iCalendar. So in my opinion, just the way that the resources are structured, I think it's really easy. I think you just have to have some patience with reading, but I haven't read the design guide yet, but there's one section that I have to read. So all the sections, but one section most relevant. So yeah,
Mo, I think you're pretty unique in that you just showed up and you just join all the calls and you're like, hey, I'm here to listen. What's up?
Yeah, right.
So that's awesome.
It's the eternal student. I think that we never stop being students.
Yeah.
And that's it. I'm 37 years old, by the way. So 37-year-old student over here.
I think it's sometimes just show up and listening and learning is the best way to do it. And then you ended up leading projects too. Yeah. What about you, Sylvia? You have any feedback or comment?
So, to be honest, to me, the only like, I think that everything is really easy to find. Really, like, one of the first things I did was to connect my calendar to the calendar you have there. I think it's very convenient. The only issue there is that there are so many things going on that it would be nice to explain a bit more. Like, hey, this is for this. Like, I feel overloaded by meetings, and it's like I don't know if I should do it. So it might be cool, or it might not be, but I don't know. I'm not sure if I should join things, so I don't feel that comfortable because I don't know the people and all of that. So that's my only thing. And also there are so many technical concepts, but that's on me that I have to learn about them. So, but otherwise, I feel that the information is very easy to read. There is a lot going on. I love like one of the ways I came to this community was through Patricia's research project. I loved it, and I think there are so many amazing things in the website. So kudos for all the amazing work you have been doing. It's great.
That's a really good point. So at the core, we have a cycle of 3 weeks. Once per week, we have a community call, then we have a design review, and then we have a design guide work session. And I think we can just write that on the page where you sign up for the calendar. It's like, hey, here's kind of the base. And then the projects kind of do what they want. And some projects, they have calls, but they don't put them in there because, I don't know, they're stealth or whatever. in other projects, they're just open and it helps them. And that kind of, I understand that kind of gets messy. It can add up.
That's also cool, though. It's really cool that there are so many things going on around the community. So I really like that.
Would this be a good place to segue into some of the projects that we have going on and which things need help? I'm going to share my screen here and let's see. It should be basically the Google Doc that you already have linked in the chat, but I'll share it just so we can follow it along. And I mean, just as kind of a high level overview, I mean, the design community itself, just as a community, is just, you know, a place for, you know, designers who want to work on Bitcoin to, you know, communicate with each other and teach each other and, you know, share resources and stuff like that. But the kind of the magic happens when all of that is combined into actual projects. And so the community itself has a couple of different like projects that it works on that are like kind of like official community projects. Examples of those would be like the design guide, the UI kit, the wallet, the icons kit, all of these kinds of things. And then there's other times when the community collaborates with other projects. So there may be like an existing project, say a Bitcoin wallet like Zeus or, you know, something like that. And that wallet wants to, you know, form a collaboration with the community. And then, so then you end up with a situation where there's kind of two communities working on the project. There's like the, you know, developer community behind that project. And then there might be people from the design community. So that can sometimes get a little bit confusing, not knowing, you know, who does what for what project. So I'll just go over here some of the projects that the community is involved in now and kind of where you can find the information on it. Like I said, our main one's the design guide. You could just go to bitcoin.design and go to click on the guide, and it'll take you there. And it's basically a list of it's a basically like a guide of user experience principles for Bitcoin and Lightning wallets. Our primary task right now is adding Lightning content to the guide. It primarily talks about like main chain Bitcoin. And so by Lightning, what I'm talking about is making really instant, really cheap payments for Bitcoin. And so that we're working content like that into the guide. Hope to be done with the first pass of that later this year. And then next year, we're going to look at things like basically kind of restructuring the way the content is organized and just kind of doing refinements. So I expect that next year will probably be, like as Christoph alluded to earlier, probably be doing some reading sessions where like we maybe do a call where we try to just like read through a page together and figure out what can be improved about it. We'll probably be looking at maybe some new homepage designs or just like a new kind of information architecture for the site. So yeah, if you're interested in user interface design or copy editing or information architecture, those would probably be good projects to get involved in. We're also kind of in the early phases of talking about making translations for the guide. First up is probably Spanish, and then, you know, whatever other languages are in demand. So Patricia, who is on mute right now, she knows more about that. So you can message her on Slack if that is something you're interested in. We've got a channel on Slack just called the Design Guide channel, and you can jump in there and ask anyone questions. But Christoph, Johns, and myself and many others are all very involved in that. So you can enter that channel or message us directly. We got something called the Wallet Improvement Project. It's actually a more visual project than it sounds like. I mean, basically right now we just have a GitHub page for this where Pavlinex is kind of tracking the, you know, all the different issues that we're opening with wallets. But in short, basically what we're doing is we're finding a Bitcoin wallet, we're downloading it on our phone, we're trying to onboard ourselves to it, we're trying to use it, and then we're documenting what we find. And, you know, that could just be as simple as, you know, I want to just take some notes into Google Doc and say, oh, I had problems, you know, figuring out how to use this part of the screen. Or you could get really crazy with it and take screenshots and load them into a Figma layout. You know, you can be as complicated or as simple as you want with it, but you basically just use a Bitcoin wallet and provide feedback. And We did the last one for 2022 last week, but we'll be doing more, or we did the last one for 2021, sorry, last week, but we'll be doing more in 2022. So just keep an eye out in the general channel on Slack. Pavlinex is usually the one who organizes those, and it'll just be like, hey, next week we're going to be looking at this wallet. And so that's a very, I think, beginner friendly way to get in. All it asks is that you just download an app and be honest about your experiences with it. Got another project called the Bitcoin Icons Kit. You can see the website here and the GitHub. And basically, if you're familiar with projects like Font Awesome or Hero Icons or things like that, we try to do that, but for Bitcoin specific topics. So I'm working on a React Native module for that right now. So we do have React and Vue modules for the developers. So if you consider yourself a front-end developer, you could certainly contribute by helping out with the React and Vue modules. Also, if you're a designer, we design the icons in Figma and then port those over into code later. So if you are interested in contributing icons, you can certainly design icons. And there's also probably some website improvements that we'll be working on next year as well, like perhaps a lookup table for review and React components and categories and stuff like that. But that's basically just kind of front-end user interface updates to this website. So yeah, if you're into front-end development or just kind of icon design and stuff like that, that'd be a great project to get involved to. Go to General on Slack or message Christoph. That's kind of the project he started. Bosch has designed several icons, and you can reach out to me if you have questions about more of the like code side of it. Wallet UI Kit. It's another one of the projects Christoph started here, and basically this is like a set of Figma templates so that you can build. It basically kind of has pre-built user flows for specific types of user flows you might encounter in a Bitcoin application, like recovery phrase backup or onboarding the user for the first time. I'm sure Christoph could use help with that, and I know that I know one thing he's mentioned is that there's going to be a lot of Lightning specific user flows added to that one, and then just kind of more polishing and refinement of the flows. So reach out to Christoph if you would be interested in helping with that. Hello Bitcoin's another cool project. This is actually a video series, and it's supposed to be these kind of like really friendly. So if you have a friend who has a question about Bitcoin, oh my God, I don't understand how it works, you can send them to this website, and there's like a list of videos and stuff. And so some of us in the community help out with like the animation and the motion graphics for these videos. So if you like working in After Effects and stuff like that, or just interested in like video editing and stuff like that, this is a good one to get involved in. We're launching Video 4 soon, and Video 5 will be coming sometime in 2022. That's supposed to say 2021, but I had a typo when I typed it, so whatever. But go to the Hello Bitcoin channel on Slack, reach out to Matt Bayless, Connor Okas, or myself. Alby's a cool project too. I honestly don't know what they need help with at the moment, but you can check out their super awesome website. They're a Lightning browser extension that helps you make Bitcoin Lightning payments via a Chrome extension in your browser. And Boomy works on that one, as well as Johns, who is in the call right now. So you go to the Lightning browser extension channel in Slack. It's a very active channel with a lot of people talking about stuff. And if you message John directly, I know that he will help you figure out a place in that project. Zeus is a Bitcoin Lightning wallet. So this is another example of just a kind of two communities collaborating. So Evan Kaludis is the developer of this wallet. Bosch from the design community is the designer for this wallet. And so there's kind of an ongoing project to revise the wallet UI. So Bosch does his work in Figma, and then Evan, I think, takes that into React Native. And I know that they are going to be revising their website next year sometime. That's kind of an ongoing project like the wallet. So those are interesting things to get involved with. The other one I can think of, this is still really early to talk about, but there's Connor Okas is starting a kind of like a video series to help developers use some of these like kind of development libraries. like LDK and BDK, and perhaps even stuff like, you know, the Bitcoin design UI kit. And so I've helped him out with kind of like a basic like graphics package for the video series. It's just on YouTube at the moment, but he's going to be rolling out more of these. And I know that there is talk about having a website for that. So that could be a potential project for next year, but no details on that. But if you're interested in doing, again, you know, front end UI or front end dev, you could certainly get involved there and just message Connor on Slack. So those are, I mean, there's probably a lot of projects I missed, a lot of stuff going on. But these are just some ones that I thought of would have good entry points for beginners. So kind of want to go ahead and just like turn it over to open discussion now. I'll just go ahead and say that if you need to message any of us directly, I mean, you basically just do that by searching for us on Slack. I'm Stephen DeLorme on Slack. Christoph on Slack. You know, everybody kind of uses their name. So just feel free to DM anybody if you need to, you know, ask one-on-one questions about, you know, getting involved in any of these projects. And with that being said, I think let's just turn it over to open discussion, and people can ask questions about anything we've talked about or whatever other questions you have.
Yeah, if I could add something. So bigger picture with the guide, the reason why it exists is really that there are like all these people, all these designers working all over the place, a lot of them by themselves, and they're all solving the exact same problems. And I think a lot of us maybe started that way. So why not, you know, create this amazing resource where everybody kind of chips in and everybody gains from. And then also a lot of developers design things, and, you know, they're like, I hate building interfaces, but, you know, I can just copy paste this from over here. I'm sure it's going to be good. So, you know, I think we help a lot of people there. So it's kind of like design infrastructure, like a design foundation for all of Bitcoin. And I personally do think if the Bitcoin user experience sucks, it doesn't deserve to be like a global currency. It should be way cooler than like whatever our corporate banks give us right now. I don't want to end up like that. I don't want my kids to use like, oh, I hate my Bitcoin application. It's so horrible, you know. And then the Bitcoin icons is also kind of an infrastructure thing. Like we can design these icons once and everybody can just use them, and we can make them super unique and diverse and like polish them over time. Like we can polish them over 10 years if we need to. And the UI kit, it's kind of linked to the guide in a way, and then it kind of reflects what's happening in the guide, and it evolves as the guide evolves. And which is kind of tricky. But I also hope that it becomes kind of a prototyping tool or concepting tool. And eventually it would also be cool. There was one student at Summer of Bitcoin this year who just turned it into a React library. I mean, he stopped because he had to go back to studies, but it'd be cool if like a designer could take that, the developer could take that library, and they're like just ready to go and build some cool applications, you know, no matter what their resources are like. It's not just for like some funded startups with 10 billion, but like some random hobbyist in like, you know, around the world in Munich, Germany. Maybe I could even do it to help all of those people who want to build things. And it can be whatever we want, right? It doesn't have to follow any patterns or standards that we see. We can make it as amazing as we want to. It's kind of up to us. End of rant.
Yeah, thank you, Stefan. Thank you, Christoph. It was a great explanation, big picture. I love the idea of design infrastructure. Also, I think it will be a great idea to have the project directory with the best person to contact. That was actually something that Stefan did. Like how you can contact Matt, but also Connor or Stefan for Hello Bitcoin. Like even, for example, for Hello Bitcoin, I'm working the Spanish version, and I was like, oh, it should be a place where people can chime in and say, I want to work in this, maybe in Portuguese version, and I can start working on that. And the person you should talk is any of the person. That I think is a good idea. And if you have any other ideas to how improve our community, yeah, are welcome.
So if I can, I just like to take a chance to like pause and say thanks for being here and acknowledge that our intention is to like be available for people. So if you guys have anything, it's so overwhelming the amount of information and projects we have. If there's anything that stuck out that's like interesting to you, like no pressure to speak if you don't want to, but we're here for you. So I don't have a hard cutoff within the next like hour or so, but like, do you have any questions or anything we can help out with? Any more info on any project?
Everything is very, very clear to me. So, I mean, you've done amazing work explaining everything. So honestly, I have no questions right now.
And to be honest, you don't even have to have a project. You can just hang out and join calls and just have conversations.
Totally.
And you can start your own. I'm still hoping that at some point the art channel will be this amazing, buzzing community where people don't, logically think through everything, but they just make things they think is cool. I hope that happens someday.
Oh, I have a question. I think nowadays we can't read the history of the channel communication because Slack has a limit. I think in some ways this is a problem because new members can read what happened in the past 6 months, let's say something.
Yes, it would cost like over $100,000 or so per month or year or so.
Yeah, it depends because it depends because Slack has a free version for nonprofits. Like my community, the community where I am leading the Latinos in Tech in United States, is like 10,000, and we don't pay a penny, and we have all the beta versions, and we have direct like a channel with Slack because they ask us for feedback all the time. It's just about like if you say you are a community or is like a nonprofit, it's for free, or other way like maybe just an open source. Just start a conversation about using open source communications channel like Mattermost. I know nobody uses Mattermost and nobody like it because the design is not pretty actually. But yeah, just that.
Yeah, I would love it if we didn't have our chat history disappearing. Yeah, we should look into the Slack nonprofit thing. I'm not sure if they require a legal entity or not, but that could be really cool. And yeah, there's like Riot and Matrix, I think, or the other kind of like Mattermost. Yeah, so it would just to be a discussion of how the infrastructure is hosted. But yeah, I would be totally great. I think that'd be great if we could not have our chat history deleted.
I can check about the nonprofit because we have the Slack without having the papers, like the legal papers, in the other nonprofit, and with that you have all the benefits, and it's pretty cool. And Slack is gonna do. They are working in community features specifically. That is super cool.
And for the collaboration with the UX designers as well. So I'm a UX student, and I've just sent a couple documents through to Figma, and now I have a professional Figma account where I can work in a collaborative team. And I also have a professional Miro account for 2 years, which normally I would pay 120 euros a year for. So I just showed my student status. So I have access to these collaborative tools just by showing that I'm a student. So I'd be curious if Miro or Figma also has something maybe like this for nonprofits, or I don't know.
So we've been in conversation with Figma. We presented at their conference this year also. And they said that, yeah, they love Bitcoin, what we're doing. They love open design and what we're pushing. And then they came up with all of these corporate features that we can't use. So I don't know. I don't think they have anything right now.
So you tried it and it's no. Yeah.
We had direct conversations with them.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Well, the problem, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna make a joke. We need some lawyers in the Bitcoin design community.
Yeah. The like the big blocker with Figma is that like it's like the team file management aspect of it. It's like I think you can get a free account fairly easily for Figma, but like I think it's where they start to charge you is where you want to like manage a folder structure. It's like here's my 10 projects with all the different Figma files inside of those projects, and I want everybody on my team to be able to have access to all of these files and stuff. That's where they start charging you, and it's like, you know, and there's yeah, I mean, it's like if you want a team project, you can only have, I think, like 3 people on it or something to that effect. And then, you know, the more team members you add to it, the more team members you add to your team, the more the price scales. So I don't know the solution to that.
Yeah, I actually have big problems with that in the UI kit. So the icon set and the UI kit are 2 separate Figma files, and I would love for them to be linked and to be update them. But I can't. It's simply not possible with the features that they offer. I have to like manually copy paste things over and sync them. It's like I've spent a lot of time trying to figure out good workflow there, and it's just not possible.
I love the idea of Penpot that some people are suggesting because they are open source as well. So that's a really good connection there.
Yeah, I played around with their software for a little bit, and I keep meaning to check it out again. It seems like a really promising project. Like, I don't know if it's right at our needs yet, but I think it will be. If it's not there yet, it probably will be in 5 years or something. Like, I'm hoping that Penpot becomes like the Blender of vector-based graphic design software. And by that I mean that like Blender was like this kind of obscure hacker kind of, you know, nerdy program 20 years ago, and now it's like actually like really legitimate 3D design software with a much more improved UX that you can actually use in a professional capacity. I'm hoping that Penpot has that same kind of growth that Blender did.
Yeah, but actually that can be something like a junior design person, if that person can do, like just pass files to Penpot from Figma. Like when you are learning, just using different tools help you so much. Like yeah, like maybe we can create a list of tasks, like easy tasks to do, and if somebody wants to do it, good. If nobody, like it's fine. But sometimes people, or at least I need guidance, like, oh, what to do, or how to start. And after I build this confidence, I feel ready to explore more things. It could be a possibility. I like the idea of using open source tools. Yeah, it was more about the messaging that the Figma, but yes. Thank you for answering. I'm going to check it out.
For the icon set, we have pretty good explanations, limitations, and requirements for all of the icons. So anybody is welcome to design anything, and we'll get it in there. There's always a little bit of polish required because the export process is just technically, it's a huge mess. And if you get one thing wrong, then so there is something where Bosch and I kind of need to do the final refinements just so it actually works at all in the end when it's exported. But I think the initial creative design process, it's completely open. I think it's fairly well documented.
Something that I just came to my mind is the Bitcoin. So the Summer in Bitcoin application is going to start again next year, and they have to. Summer in Bitcoin is a program where you as a student work in Bitcoin for a few months, and then you get paid some stipends. But basically now it's not only for developers, it's also for designers. Then if we have a list of things that designers can start working, when they apply, they can already gain experience because they have to submit a proposal. I don't know how familiar you are, but I'm going to be helping Summer in Bitcoin for Latam, like how to, and I think it's super interesting, like bring developers and designers from all the world. But if we have a few projects where junior designer, like something like Sylvia said, like, or Magashni, that a junior designer kind of have mentoring from a senior designer like you guys. That would be something that we can go
Well,
ahead.
I've just taken Christoph on as my mentor. He doesn't know that, but no, he does.
We all do. We all do.
I'm
He's
just
got like
taking him on as
2,000
my
mentees.
So-
But I just want to take a quick moment because we have a question in the chat and this is recorded, so not everyone can necessarily see the chat. Sylvia had a question, and it was just if all the files were there, would PenPot work, or are there extra features you think are needed? Open to anyone. If anyone knows the answer, I'm just vocalizing it in case anyone's watching this back.
Thank you so much. I also feel that what Krista was talking about, like, that's very important as well. Like, icons are a nightmare. I have seen how even migrating them from Figma files to Figma files, it cannot be ideal. So, or at least in the way those files were before. So that, yeah, just because of that, it could be.
Yeah, so for PenPot, I created some custom Figma plugins to automate the export process. And those are extremely helpful to make sure I don't have to like manually export every single file and make sure the name is right and all of this stuff. That's kind of a blocker. But I have to look again. I love what PenPot's doing. I hope they're ready. Can't wait to switch over at some point.
And I think too, when I tried it, it was just like it was one of these things where I downloaded it, ran it. It was good. It was pretty good. The UI just felt like a little like clunky in a couple places, but it was really good for open source software, right? So that was like a really early like alpha release, I think. So I imagine that it probably feels really good when you're using the software now. It's probably much more polished since they've been working on it for so much longer.
Also, I know the designer of PenPot, so if we want, we can maybe invite him to a call and he can explain us things if we feel like that. I mean, I don't know if he will be open to it, but we can ask. I can definitely ask him.
We should start looking at PenPot soon. Yeah.
Just a random thought, super random. But in the other design community that I'm in, it's with a senior UX designer, and it's a very small Discord group of around 2,000 people. And he set this Bitcoin design challenge, and all of the students piped up like, hey, and then he said, well, how they view your portfolios when you're looking for a UX job is they look if you've collaborated in a team. And these students are now getting together and collaborating and solving problems and using that in their portfolios, which is amazing. So just, thinking out loud, if there's any problems that, I'm really enjoying the UX calls, by the way. So I don't, it's just a random thought. But if there would be any problem areas that, you as a platform would like to focus on, I think that I might be able to recruit some students from the other platform I'm in and get them to kind of hop over, because this one guy's literally spent 2 years doing a blockchain research project. He's an architect, and he just did a whole research thing on a Bitcoin wallet, and he shared it with me,
What's his name?
Oh, man. No, I don't know off the top of my head.
Is it a Portuguese person, maybe?
No, he looks Japanese, Chinese.
Okay.
I only know him virtually. But him and I wanted to collaborate and do a research project specifically on Bitcoin wallets. And then when I joined the community here, I was like, oh, wow, this is even better. I get to I get to collaborate with people who are even more senior, much more experienced, and I can learn from them. So that's why I've invited myself on the calls.
What was the topic that you wanted to research specifically for the wallet?
He chose a specific wallet. I can send you his case study, Johns. But he, what was he researching? Trust.
Okay.
His entire, and his case study is now so long that he's received feedback from other people. And he's now trying to shorten it. Yeah. So yeah, I can connect the two of you. He's incredibly passionate about it. So yeah.
All right. Well, get him in the community as well.
I'll get him in the community. I will. He's in Canada.
Nice.
So we're getting up on an hour here. I think I'm going to go ahead and kill the recording now. So that is a wrap.